Hey guys, Dr. Ben here with the Functional Medicine Centers, and I am in Fort Collins, Colorado. We have our satellite location in Phoenix, Arizona with Dr. Shanice Wright, and so excited to have you on today. I'm going to be talking about something that we see with almost every single patient that comes in, and that is digestive disturbance. And for those of you that are new to these videos, go ahead and like or follow our page up above. There's a button, and we come out with information all the time. We've got hundreds of videos on YouTube, on Facebook. You can search almost any topic, and we've got lots of information out there for almost every type of health condition you can think of. So today we're going to be talking about digestion, and digestion issues are rampant, all the way from indigestion, heartburn, reflux, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, all of these different things, and some of them can be life controlling. I've had many patients come in and they were like, holy cow, I can't even leave the house. Every time I think about going to work or school, I get diarrhea. I see this in teenagers and 20-something-year-olds all the time, almost even more so than adults. It's amazing how many younger people now are dealing with digestion issues. If you or a loved one that you know are dealing with these issues, dealing with digestion, not able to break things down appropriately, send them our way. We'd love to help people. We have a limited number of new patient spots that we allow per week. We are booked out into August, but we'd love to help people, and I can always do a complimentary consultation with somebody to come up with that game plan of how we can move forward. So one of the best things we can do to help digestion, whether that's reflux, heartburn, indigestion, GERD, any of the diarrhea, constipation, any of those things, one of the best things you can do is what's called proper food combining. Proper food combining is where you eat certain combinations of food to allow for the best digestion possible. And one of the ways that we do that, if you think about stomach acid on a pH scale. So if you remember way back to chemistry, you've got your pH scale, how acid or how alkaline something is. And the more acidic something is, the lower, the closer it is to 0. The more alkaline something is, the closer it is to 14. 7 is right in the middle. It's that neutral, and that's going to be like water. Distilled water is going to be 7. Hey Heather, how you doing? Brenda, good to see you as well. So 7 is neutral on that pH scale. 0 is as acidic as you can get. Alkaline is 14. That's as alkaline basic as you can get through there. Stomach acid should be about 1.5 to 3. And so that's going to be where our stomach is going to digest the best. It's going to digest food quickly, move it out of the stomach, and move it through. But unfortunately, two things happen. One, as we age, and as we are under stress, we produce less stomach acid. So what does that mean? Well, how many of you are aging? You can do a thumbs up if you're not. If you're thumbs down if you're actually getting younger. So good for you. And then number 2, if you're under stress. So stress. I always say jobs and cars and kids and COVID and presidents and whatever you want to stress about, we can be stressing about. And for those of you that have watched a bunch of my videos, you know that the number one stressor to the adrenal glands is actually blood sugar swings. So a lot of you that are still having blood sugar issues are dealing with those swings of the adrenals as well and stressing out those adrenals. So what we need to look at is 1.5 to 3 in that pH scale for stomach acid. How do we get the body best to digest at that moment? And one of the things that we look at is proper food combining. And this means that you keep your starches and your proteins separate. You don't eat them at the same time, because what happens is that it's going to actually not digest either one very well. Protein is broken down in a more acidic environment, where the starches are broken down in a more alkaline environment closer to that 3. But when you combine them together, neither one is going to break down very well, and it's going to create a lot of issues. So a lot of the standard American fare: hot dog on a bun, hamburger, turkey sandwich, eggs and toast, the spaghetti and meatballs, tacos, all these different things where we do a starch and a protein, meat and potato type of a thing. Both of those are going to be different pH scales that they're going to break down better at, and you're not going to digest properly. So what happens is the food sits in the stomach, it starts to ferment, it starts to putrefy, and it starts to push up on the sphincter, and that's where a lot of the reflux comes from, is that we're not getting that food to pass through fast enough. It sits there too long, it starts to ferment, putrefy, push up on that sphincter, and we're not able to get it to pass through into the small intestine as fast fast as we should. So then we sit there, you lie down, you go to bed, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got this reflux, this heartburn, this food just sitting in my stomach, not breaking down. And if it doesn't break down in the stomach, it's not going to be broken down well enough further down. Small intestine, large intestine. That's when it gets to large intestine. One of the best words in the English language here, putrefaction. It starts to putrefy in that large intestine. That's when we get the gas, when we get the bloating, when it just feels like we're fermenting inside, brewing beer inside of us basically, and we're not able to digest it as well as we should. So we've got to start with making sure that we're combining our foods properly. And the other thing that you're going to do is you're not going to drink fluids with your meals. If you drink fluid with your meal, you're diluting that stomach acid, making it more basic, and we're not going to be able to break down as well either. So we've got to do two things. We've got to combine our food properly and not drink fluids with your meals. If you need a little sip here or there, you can do that, but otherwise you definitely want to keep 12 ounces or whatever away from you at that meal. So proper food combining, you keep your proteins and your starches separate. So basically your meat and your vegetables is going to be one meal. And then if you are going to do a starch, that's going to be a separate thing. So if you're going to have a pizza, it would be more of a veggie pizza. If you're going to have some rice, it would be some rice and some vegetables. The problem with that, for those of you that have been following for quite a while, is that's going to spike your blood sugar and going to create other problems if you're just having those starches. So for most people, starches are going to be kept to a minimum because one, it's going to jack with your blood sugar. Two, it's going to mess up your digestion if you're combining it with protein as well. So having that meat and vegetable and good fats at a meal is going to help you with that digestion at that point. And the other key point is you want to keep fruit separate. Keep fruit as snacks, but by themselves. If you eat fruit with that meal, this apple should be out of the stomach in about 15 minutes. But if you've eaten eggs and bacon and toast and an apple, it's going to sit there for probably 45 to 60 minutes. It's going to start to ferment in that stomach and give off a lot of gas as well and cause other problems. So you want to keep fruit separate in between meals as a snack, not with protein or major carb meals at that point. So hope you guys learned a little bit today. If this video is helpful and you know someone that has digestive issues, go ahead and share this with them, like or follow our page. But also, if you have digestion issues yourself and you cannot get this figured out, drop us a line. I love doing complimentary consultations. It's my goal to get as many people as healthy as possible. So if you've got anything that you have questions on, give me a holler on that one. Hey Danielle, how you doing? How can we move what is already fermenting in the small intestine? So usually that fermentation is actually happening in the large intestine. Sometimes we get that small intestine bacterial overgrowth, but most of the time the fermentation is taking place in that large intestine. A lot of times we've got to do some kill off first. I love oil of oregano. We have a specific kind that's time released and gets further down in the digestive tract, but you usually need to do kill off, drop down that yeast, and then you can start doing some fiber and some different things to move things through. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and pop them down below and I'll be answering those as we go along. Take care, guys.